My name is Dr. Marilyn Karani. Today I'll be sharing a presentation on bovine tuberculosis is a chronic bacterial disease of animals and humans caused by Mycobacterium bovis. This disease is characterized by extreme emaciation. It is worldwide in all occurrence, and it's an old disease. The Chinese call it shulao, which means depletion or exhaustion, and the Indians yaksma, meaning consumption. The primary hosts for Mycobacterium bovis are cattle, but other domesticated and wild mammals can also be infected. The disease is usually maintained in wildlife, different for different regions of the world. For example, in New Zealand, the brush-tailed opossum is the reservoir. In the United Kingdom, the badgers, and in the South Africa, North Africa, the African buffalo. Tuberculosis has a prolonged course, and symptoms take months or years to appear. They usually include weakness, loss of appetite, weight loss, fluctuating fever, intermittent hacking cough, diarrhea, and large prominent lymph nodes. It's caused by Mycobacterium bovis, which is a gram-positive acid-fast bacterium in the Mycobacterium tuberculosis complex of the family Mycobacteriaceae. The transmission usually comes from the wildlife reservoir to the domesticated animals, livestock, basically cattle, and from cattle the human beings get it by taking products from which are not well preserved. The current status or strategies that are used in the global arena to control tuberculosis can be divided into three sections, namely control in the reservoir, control in the livestock, and control in the humans. In the reservoir, the control measures undertaken include vaccination of the badgers, biosecurity, where separation of the reservoirs and the primary hosts is done by fencing off the wildlife. We also use test and depopulate positive reactors, and in the US, a ban of supplementary feeding of the white-tailed deer. This is so as to avoid the congregation of the deer, to avoid horizontal spread. In the control of livestock, we use vaccination to prevent the disease from occurring. We also carry out the tuberculosis test and depopulate the positive reactors. We also use quarantine, where the movement of the animals affected is inhibited. Monitoring of animal movement is very important, and also slaughterhouse surveillance and a traceback system where it's followed and the herds associated with the animal that was found with the disease tested and depopulated if they are found positive. The control in humans involves treatment of the affected people and a testing of the contact individuals, and it also involves educating the public on the disease, regular testing of healthcare providers for the disease, and treating them if found positive. Wearing of protective gear is also very, very important to control tuberculosis, and wearing of respirators is also encouraged for health workers working in the tuberculosis wards in healthcare centers. Because tuberculosis is zoonotic in nature, it has far-reaching effects. They involve, spread of the disease from the wildlife to livestock to humans, and eventually from human to human. The major problems with this disease are because it has huge economic losses, and there are losses due to reduced production, which include infertility, loss of offspring, meat and milk condemnation, and also loss of biodiversity, because usually in the wildlife, the animals that are affected will eventually die, leaving a smaller population of the endangered species. And of course, the most important is the trade restrictions that come along with tuberculosis. For the future, I think biosecurity, which involves separating wildlife from livestock, is very, very important. This will stop the spread from the wildlife to the livestock. And the second thing we can do is to test for the disease in wildlife and livestock and depopulate the positive reactors regularly. We can also do routine vaccination of wildlife and livestock for the disease, and we can also undertake public health education for food safety. The last slide has the references that are used to make up this presentation, and I'm grateful for your listening. Thank you.